Hi everyone, welcome to the Dave's World YouTube channel. I'm Geraldine, Dave's wife. There's a video that Dave was in the middle of editing before his medical problems got worse. It was a very important video regarding flex fuel kits, which are offered through the CRUZE's website. Since I'm going to be filming and editing the videos moving forward, I felt this footage was very important and wanted to share it. Here's what Dave filmed.
Are you excited to find a website where you can get custom one-off parts for your Chevy Cruze? Go to supercruises.com today so you can make your ride even better.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dave's World. So today's going to be a little bit of a different video. Normally, what I do is I'll make like an instructional video on something that I usually put on the website. But I have my buddy Danny coming here. He has that really cool red Generation 1 Cruze. He told me, well, we're going to fix his exhaust, which we're going to do today, and then he asked me to install one of my flex fuel kits. So I'm going to build a flex fuel kit, install that, and we're going to test it today. So that's going to be kind of fun. Oh, updates, by the way. The Corvette is finally mobile. If you're interested, comment below and let me know what color you might want to see it. I'm thinking like a metallic red, and I found this really cool hot rod flat color. I might want to do red. I was thinking maybe blues. I have no idea. The hardest thing to do when you're building a car is figure out a color. So comment below and let me know. Whenever Danny gets here, we're going to start working on the car, so I'll turn the camera back on when he shows up.
Okay, so Danny arrived and we started working right away on the car because basically there was a bunch of things we needed to do, and I was in kind of a rush. So what I would normally do is unplug the fuel pump, run the engine, and just let the engine die. That way the engine would actually use the remaining fuel in the lines, and then what would happen is when I remove the fuel line, there wouldn't be any pressure on the line. However, I was in a hurry. I decided to keep this in the video so you guys can see what would happen. The fuel shot straight up out of the fuel line, hit the hood, covered the engine bay in gasoline, and got me right in the face. So I wanted to show this to everyone so you guys know what you're in store for. Just make sure you find a way to relieve the pressure in the line before you pull it off so you're not shooting yourself in the face just like I did. Okay, every one of these kits is going to come with an alcohol content sensor, so what you need to do is actually pop this line off and you have to pull it up. And then once you pull it up, the alcohol content sensor will be able to hook into place. I got the exact sensor that needs to be installed. And then the next thing you'll be doing is adding the adapter piece, so it puts the content sensor right exactly where I want it on the engine bay, so it fits perfectly like it's meant to be there. Now every one of these kits will come with a soldered wire harness, and the reason I solder everything is so there's no weird connection joints. It'll come pre-wired for the fuse box, set up for the ground on the strut tower, and then you'll have enough wire to go from the end of the harness right to the ECM. I also have another version that plugs into the engine harness in the engine bay. It's a little more expensive, but much easier to install. Actually, this one's pretty easy to install as well. Now, every one of these harnesses I recommend zip tying down. You don't want to just leave them laying on the engine bay somewhere, especially since you have exhaust and hot things around that could melt the harness. So I chose to zip tie this out of the way on the engine harness that runs above the intake manifold. The next thing you're going to need to do is pull the connector on the top of the ECM. Once you pull the connector off, you have to remove the cover on the back of the connector. That way you can gain access to the pin numbers. What you're going to see is 4 pin numbers, but based on the 4 you see, you can count which pin is the one you need to go to. Now, anybody who buys this kit from me, I will give the pin number to. I just chose not to put it in the video because a lot of people confuse the Generation 1 and the Generation 2 Cruze, and they use different pin numbers, and I didn't want anyone plugging a harness into the wrong ECM pin. But I am showing how you have to put it in. Now, once you locate the pin number that I give you, you have to pop out the little cover that's in there, and then my harness is already set up with an ECM pin that will pop right in place. Now, once the kit's installed, the next thing you have to do is put in your tune file. This specific tune file is an E85 flex fuel tune, but it's also a crackle tune from Bad News Racing. Jerry at Bad News Racing seems to be the only company that can make a crackle tune work, so we're testing out the crackle tune and the flex fuel tune at the same time. So once this tune is finished being installed, we are going to put E85 in the car. The cool thing is Danny brought 3 gigantic containers of E85 with this really cool pump system, which was very helpful for me because I had to figure out how to get E85 to the shop, and this was the best way to do it. Okay, so real quick, we have to get Danny's car back together. We need it roadworthy so we can go test out my flex fuel sensor kit. I figured I'd throw this in the video because I originally said he was coming here for an exhaust repair, and then it spiraled into doing some upgrades on the car. Right now there's more gasoline than E85, so as you're driving, the fluid's making its way through the fuel system into the engine, into the injectors, and as you start using up the gasoline, you'll start seeing this rise. And as this rises, the tune's going to adjust for it. That's why you're reading that 10% now. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we just like leave it a second and let it go. And like tap the gas a little bit.
This car really likes the E85, huh?
Now you can see after the road test, we were able to cycle fuel through the fuel system, and now the flex fuel sensor is reading 50% ethanol because it used up the gasoline and started using the E85. Again, this kit is available at supercruises.com.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.